Good morning, everyone. My name is Frank Lavinia, and you can find me at the following URLs. Um, totally forgot what I was going to say, which means I probably need more coffee. But in the interest of keeping the stream going, I want to wish you a happy Thursday. It's been a rough week here at the house. We lost our Weimaraner the other night, and Weimaraners are um, big dogs with big hearts. That's all I'll say. If you seen my Instagram feed, there's a quote that I think sums up her life by Hunter Thompson, and it's basically, um, you know, life should be a journey to the grave. Wait, let me start over. Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, "Wow, what a ride." My wife sent me that quote and said that sums up Emma's life. And that's pretty correct. And to quote Steve Jobs, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Um, she was originally a foster dog, so we only had her 8 years, but she did live to the age of 14, which in that particular breed is um, rather rare and special. And you know, it is what it is. In more pleasant news, I've been thinking a lot about the newsletter that I wrote last week, and thank you for everyone who's reached out and complimented it, commented and shared on it, subscribed. Which was basically the topic was, is a new data ecosystem, not just a data, but is a new cloud ecosystem forming right before our eyes? And there's obviously something I'm going to chew on more, and I'll probably write a follow up to that. This week's newsletter is going to focus on, spoiler alert, right? Like data engineers versus data scientists. It's a theme that's come up quite a bit, um, and in my at Coverse, it's come up quite a bit with our customers and some of the partner organizations that we're working with. Um, so it's something that's definitely top of mind, and it's interesting because the situation is not what it was even just a few years ago. And a few years ago, the top paying salaries were the data scientists. Well, now you're starting to see data engineers are starting to be more in demand. Now, is that given that the salary or the hourly rates tend to be a function or an output of supply and demand? You have to wonder now: is the demand for data engineers going up, and the supply of data engineers staying flat, where everybody and their brother and their sister and their dog and their cousin's dog um, signed up for how to become a data scientist, right? Because that was all the rage, and guilty as charged myself. Um, One of the things that I did in my previous role at Microsoft, actually turned out to be my last role at Microsoft, was take a job that really forced me to grow into the data engineering side of things. And that turned out to have been awesome because now I can function in both spheres, which is something that not a lot of people can do. I mean, if you put time into it, you can do it, but not a lot of people will put the time into it. So that's definitely going to be something that I'm going to kind of chew on. Um, you know, but I think if you're just starting in this field, I wouldn't say forget the data science part. I'm not saying at all, but I would say you might want to throw some data engineering arrows into your quiver, because I think it's just good practice, right? Kind of, what do they say in Hollywood? Someone who can sing, act, and dance, they're triple threats. I think the same is true in IT careers. One of the things I really want to kind of deep dive into is, well, several things I want to deep dive into. I spend way too much money on Udemy and on Humble Bundle. Speaking of which, there's a cool book bundle that is here. Actually, there's two this week. So let me share my screen and we can go through it. There we go. How does that work? Oh, that works perfectly. My crazy monitor setup. Applied Mathematics book bundle. For those of you curious about this, And you know, I don't know. I think it's cool. I probably wouldn't buy these books or all of these books, like if I had to pay for full price. But I mean, for $18, you get 29 books. You can't beat that. And some of these are very specialized. And you're probably thinking, well, why are you doing this? Well, I'll tell you this. One, econometrics is a field, thanks to a former customer of mine up in Pennsylvania. Shout out to you, Max. Um, Basically, he studied econometrics, and it turns out linear algebra is a big part of that. And if you've been following kind of Impact Quantum, it turns out linear algebra is also kind of a big deal in quantum computing. So that is indeed interesting. There's also kind of mathematics for computer graphics and game programming. Just a lot of good stuff. I mean, I don't. I mean, I would buy this anyway, or most of these books, but some of these I wouldn't. And speaking of bundles, they got another one right here called Project Management. So it's all stuff on that. Let me put the URL up. I don't get any. I don't get any referrals. I don't get any credit for this. I don't make money off this. I just like what they do. Robin, econometrics rocks. Cool. It's definitely a field I want to know more about. If you're interested in being on the show, let me know. Obviously not today. I want to give you some warning. But yeah, I mean, I've read a little bit about it. It sounds very intriguing. It sounds rather interesting. And that gentleman I was talking about, he did this interesting, he already knows the math behind quantum, computing, kind of the linear algebra or matrix math. Um, so he's like a statistician trying to become a data scientist. You know what I mean? Like they already have a leg up, and smart guy too. Econometrics rocks. I need to learn more about that. I've resolved in 2022 to keep on and just continue learning. This is interesting. This is a project management book bundle, which I mean, for $18 you get 17 books. That's just a hair over $1 a book. Can't beat that. I love Humble Bundle for that sort of thing. I also love how that monitor resolution lines up perfectly when I do side by side. It's always good when a plan comes together. Once again, that website is Humble Bundle. I do have a hard stop in a few minutes, but I figured I would stream because I've been kind of quiet. It's been a rough week with the dog and hot on the heels of my mom passing away. It's the kids are taking it harder than I expected. But the cost of living, sometimes the cost of loving, not going to get all philosophical and teary-eyed. Not now. In more pleasant news, Data Channel has a new series, which I think I talked about on my last stream, which is Let Me Ask You a Question, where we take questions from the audience or even dumb questions that Andy and I have that we're afraid to say that they're ours, and we answer them in a way. And I don't have the fancy graphic handy, but let's see if I can go. I'm going to do this live on screen. This is the Data Channel homepage. Here is my discount code. Let's see, series, browse all series. So this is Let Me Ask You a Question. So far we have one, a few more in the pipeline and kind of ideas, but it's basically kind of meant to, answer those basic fundamental questions that I think there was a meme about this. At this point, I'm afraid I should even, I don't even want to ask or something like that. That's in addition to the other series that we have, introducing the metaverse. Have a lot to say about the metaverse. Probably going to put it in my newsletter because I was listening to something the other day in the car that really got me thinking. It was about the metaverse and how much more data can be collected there, good or bad or indifferent, although probably somewhere in the middle. That is very intriguing. So a lot of people ask me, Frank, why are you in to the metaverse? Why are you fascinated by that? And the quantum computing thing can make sense. You can make sense of data science and quantum computing. There's a pretty solid overlap. But I would say that there's also a good overlap with metaverse or that 3D virtualization stuff, whether that's 3D visualization, getting data around kind of telemetry that you can collect, digital twinning, that sort of thing. There's a pretty good story there, and some of it's surrounded in hype, and some of it's legit. You know, and one interesting thing that I've noticed is a lot of folks got Oculus Quests for the holidays, and I think that is um, a definite leg up for Facebook Meta, um, to kind of have that device penetration. It'll be interesting to see, will there be a kind of a phone hardware type phone wars like there was with cell phones? Um, Probably. Um, but I mean, at this point, you have Facebook or Meta with such a early lead. It'd be interesting to see how that folds out. Now, I wouldn't call the fight yet because BlackBerry had an early lead. Windows Mobile had an early lead. It was really Apple that kind of took it to the next level. And there's rumors that they're going to have a play in that space as well. There's also other hardware people in this space. Obviously, 3D GPUs have a big say in the 3D space. So it'll be interesting to see how the hardware market evolves, and I will stay on top of it. So with that, I have to go, and I want to thank you for tuning in live or on a recording. You can go to datachannel.tv and use Launch 497 for the life of your subscription. You'll get $4.97, which is like 2/3 off. And Data Channel for Life, you get a super crazy discount on an annual subscription. And as always, if you want to be a content contributor on the platform, just let me know in the comments or shoot me an email or DM on LinkedIn or on Instagram or Twitter. And with that, I will wish you a happy Thursday, and hopefully I'll be back online tomorrow. Have a great night, day, morning, wherever you are on this planet of ours. For me, it's late morning. Have a great one. Thanks, Robin, for commenting live. And I definitely, anyone has any recommendations for learning econometrics, hit me up, again, in the usual places. And if you have a question for our show or you'd like to see a concept developed, let me know. One of the things we really strive for with the Data Channel is the idea that we want to be much more community focused and listening to the community in terms of what content gets created. So with that, I will end the stream as promised, and you have a fantastic whatever time